Ayun, what is up mga paps? Welcome to the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast, your Filipino brand of fantasy basketball. And of course, this is your fantasy Papi Roy, who's been out for quite a while, almost Kawhi Leonard season for me. So I've been out for several weeks. Apologies to my friends and followers there. But today, unfortunately, I had some technical difficulties, but it's going to be a very, very solid interview with a good friend of mine that will introduce us several things. Number one, about the history behind his app. He actually has the app for fantasy basketball. The history behind and the journey behind his championship that he won in the Lock on Fantasy Basketball that is organized by Josh Lloyd. Okay, let me just put in our guest here. Let's give it up to Arik Zilber. What's up, brother?
Hey, Papi, how you doing? Great
Uh,
to be here.
yeah, doing great. How about you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm a bit tired after the season over. All the rush is is over, and now all the tiredness from sleepless nights because in my country the games are played at night. Okay, I'm 5 hours back from you in the Philippines. So now it's not now. When the games are played, it's middle of the night in my country. So yeah, so I need to be. I've been awake for about half a year. So now finally I can sleep. But now all the adrenaline is over. So I've really really very tired. I'm very tired in the last couple of days.
Uh, I don't believe that. I don't think you're getting tired because we're now in the playoffs. I'm pretty sure you'll be you'll be
Yeah,
you'll
but the
still watch.
fantasy rush is over. We'll
Ah,
start
yeah,
with the
yeah, yeah.
playoffs.
Okay, so can you kind of like quickly introduce yourself? What uh, what are you doing right now, and then when did your love about fantasy basketball or basketball in general started?
Okay, I'm a basketball freak from the 90s. Okay, I loved basketball since I remember myself, and NBA since about the middle of the 90s. I started with San Antonio, and then Reggie. When I fell in love, the first player I really fell in love is Reggie Miller, and Indiana, the Pacers. And then I started being really a fan, not just someone who enjoys the game. And the romance with San Antonio was ups and downs. But for the about 15 last years, I'm a San Antonio fan. I like the Nuggets as well. Nikola Jokic is my favorite player. And fantasy, I started playing about 7 years ago, something like that. But because I'm really a basketball fanatic, and I have a master's degree in math. So yeah, I really like numbers and I really like basketball. Okay, so the combination here made me a really solid fantasy player since the get going. Uh, so since they get going, I understood things that a lot of people that play the game a lot of time don't understand, and I had a lot of success in the first years of me playing. And 2 years ago, a friend of mine, a colleague from one of the leagues, another great player named Chovav, asked me if I want to do a podcast with him in Hebrew. And we started the recording. And like you are the number one podcast in the Philippines, right, Papi? So
Hopefully,
we have so we have the number one podcast in Israel. Okay. the number one fantasy podcast in Israel. And we have a success in Israel, but you don't know the community in Israel is really small. The community, for example, in the Philippines is much bigger. Okay, I see you have about 3,000 friends hearing you every episode, something like that.
Yeah, I guess we're almost above 3,000 strong in the community. And then to be
Okay,
honest, there's
so
a fantasy group that we're in, it's like 5,000 more.
yeah, and in our group, in our Israeli community, there's about 1,000. You have 5,000 in your fantasy in the Facebook group. We have 1,000, so we're smaller. But as I said, me and my friend were recording in Hebrew, but we decided to go abroad and we wanted to share our knowledge. And we decided that we want to have a fantasy app. And that's what we did last year. Okay, the last year, this year we've launched in the beginning of the year our fantasy app, day to day fantasy. We are on an Apple and we're on no on
Android?
Google.
Oh, Google,
Yeah,
yeah.
on Android, yes. So we had this year uh, uh, pickup advice with the pre-draft rankings. We had projections through all the year and buy low, sell high advice. But next year we're going to upgrade it and they have a lot more exciting things, and I'm really excited about it. It's free of charge; nobody needs to pay. So if you're a basketball, if you're a fantasy player and you need some advice and you want it for free, of course, you know, I always pay for the monster, the $50. I paid the $70 to have Kyle's advice as well. But if you want a free advice, we're not here, of course, to replace the monster. You know, Josh Lloyd he has its place. But another set of ears, another set of advice from someone who knows what he's doing. And you know, I want to be humble, but I I I have to tell the truth. I think I know what I'm saying. You know, I have the knowledge. Okay. And I'm always trying to get better at this game. I never think that's enough. Okay, I'm always reading, I'm always thinking about strategies, new pants, what pants are better this year, which players are suiting the pants, you know. So I'm always trying uh, take my game to another level.
There you go. So, I guess to our viewers right here, I would attest that Eric here is a very, very not only good but a tenured fan, student, and creator of the game. Might it be a reality NBA analysis or even fantasy or much more fantasy basketball analysis? I mean, the dude has a background in math. I guess that's one of the very good credentials, especially that fantasy basketball mostly or majority of the part is all about numbers. I'm actually checking the app so I can see here you have here some trade values, projections, top picks, buy low and sell high. So you know what? We've been kind of like chatting for quite some time, and I've been enjoying your company, bro. Here's what I can promise you: next season, every time I'm gonna do what they call this an episode, I'm gonna have a look in your app, and then I'm gonna give some reaction. Because
Great.
there are several times that I would want to do some research, but time and circumstances really kind of like prevent me, and then I'm doing this solo. So this is going not only to help me, but also help our fellow fantasy basketball fans to have, like what you've mentioned, another set of eyes, another set of perspective aside from
Yeah,
our good old
I'll
friend idol Josh Lloyd, right?
I'll tell you what, I think this year we had some nice success. For example, most of the analysts said to pick Durant at about the third place, the third pick, fourth pick, and we put it about ninth or tenth pick. We said it's very dangerous to take Durant because of injuries and the situation in of the Nets, and we were right at both ends, okay? Because not only he got injured twice, the situation with the Nets got heated, and he found himself in another team. So the another team, it doesn't really matter because it's fucking Kevin Durant. He's gonna be a god everywhere he'll play. But you know, he we didn't believe he can stay healthy for a full year, and we were right. We're right about Vucevic as well. Everybody, most of the analysts picked him or said to pick him fourth round. We said he's a borderline second round. Okay, he played 82 games. It's very rare, and his per game was about 25th, something like that. And with success, for example, with Alper and St. June, everybody was, very high on him preseason. Said to pick him top 50, top 60, and we were cooler. We said pick him about top eight, the 80th PLA, something like that. So with a lot of success about the analysis, you can't be always right. Okay, it's fantasy. You need nobody knows what the future will bring. But our way of thinking about a few players was really good this year, and I'm really proud at what we built there. Okay, so it's going to be nice if you will follow us next year, and even invite me, and we'll talk about things. We'll
Yeah,
ramble about things we will not agree.
yeah, of course, of course. Actually, I am someone similar, like to you, brother. I think I find myself like a continuous student of the game. That's the reason why I keep connecting to anyone that I say that, hey, this dude has a good take, or this is a passion about the games. I always try to connect with those people. Like, even like, just a simple follower having a kind of like a discussion. The reason is, I love what you mentioned earlier. It's about really appreciating different types of perspective, given that this is fantasy basketball, everyone. So, there's no guarantee. Understanding different perspectives from other people, especially someone like Eric here, who has some background and knows what he's doing, is a very, very good source of information. So the moment that you do your drafts, or you strategize on your own style, you kind of like, hey, this is good, this is good, this is bad, and then you follow which one you think is good, and then you don't follow which you don't think is bad, and then you put it in such manner that it's also has a flavor uh for you personally, because we all have like kind of like biases, right? Which is kind of like sometimes really hard to prevent. Like, for example, me, before, like, few years back, I know after the big three of Tim Duncan, even Kawhi was there before. After that, I know San Antonio Spurs is going to have a hard time really playing good basketball moving forward. But my bias as a San Antonio Spurs fan keeps me, wants me to really pick any Spurs in my dynasty draft. So I got the John Murray, I got Keldon. It kind of like paid off, like a couple of, like, last year, when the Jonte really
DeJounte,
played
right?
well,
DeJounte
right?
was teaming
Yeah.
out last year.
Yeah, but this year, there in our dynasty, what do you call this, dynasty format league, I added the likes of Malachi Branham. I added the likes of
Uh,
the other. maybe who- Keldon Johnson, I did a trade. They fared well, but they kind of like killed me in the playoffs because they didn't do anything. They aren't really playing. So those type of biases. But then again, I had fun. There are leagues that I'm kind of like, hey, I don't give an F with my biases. I'm just gonna follow technically what I think. But most of my leagues, I always want to have fun. So I can't help myself to pick a Trey Jones from the Spurs because this dude is a decent guard. But yeah, those are kind of like my perks. Anyways, bro, going back to you. You actually shared some of your hot takes before this season started. But looping back to your journey in the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl, where the was who was one of the picks in your roster there that you think others aren't really high on? With That's the reason you got them.
Easy question, brother. Easy question, really easy. I had two players that I was really much higher on than others. Okay, and they both paid really well. The first was Jimmy Butler. Okay, Jimmy Butler. I didn't understand why from all of the players, everybody picked Jimmy Butler as the most injury prone one and put it, although he has a borderline per game first round, although he's a borderline per game first rounder, they put it about at pick 2025. Okay. Uh, they made him a third rounder, and I didn't understand it. Why him? Yes, and like I said, Durant, no. Other players like Curry that has health issues in the last couple of years, no. Okay, so only Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is the only injury-prone player from the top 20. I picked him in the second round. I had the third pick, okay, and when my second pick, at the third pick, I picked Embiid, of course, okay, and my second round pick, that was the 22nd pick, yeah. Oh, Uh, when Jimmy Butler got to me, I was, excited, like I said to myself, I can't move on. I cannot not
Not
pick
pick,
him
yeah.
here. Okay. Uh, and Jimmy Butler played 25 straight games. Okay. During the post All Star, uh, uh, after the All Star, during the post All Star period, he played 25 straight games. In the finals, he played 4 games and gave me per game. He was 13th per game. Okay, so I got great value from Jimmy Butler. He's the first. The second pick that I knew that I had to pick, especially in the format Josh Lloyd had, that had three IL spots. I knew I had to have Jaren Jackson Jr.
Oh yeah.
and I and I picked him pretty early. I think I picked him in the seventh round because I was so scared of losing him that I said to myself, I've got to get him. I got to have the edge of Jaren Jackson in the finals. I didn't know that he's going to be as well a borderline first rounder or top 15 player, let's say it like this. I didn't know that, but I knew that he's going to be healthy by March, and he's going to be give me. I thought he's going to be give me a third round value, not a first, second round value. But he's a player that I said to myself, I'm going to get to the playoffs. I'm going to have a really strong team. I can handle wasting the seventh round pick on him. Okay, even if he'll only be back by January. And here I had a lot of luck. Although it's not only luck, because the reports was very good about him preseason, and a lot of reports said that he's going to get back to court earlier than people think, than his schedule. And I decided to roll with him. So those two picks was really strong picks that most of people didn't take that early.
Yeah, I mean, this season people are really. I noticed that people really paved the way for from those players that has injury in their historical careers, right? So they, even though the tiny bits of news, they are actually influenced by it. For Jaren Jack, I have a lot of Triple J, to be honest. Almost the same thinking there. Thing is, I was really concerned initially. I well, technically, I just didn't trust the Memphis reporters because years after years they've been screwing us with some premature news, right? So, but still, I the projection is I know he will definitely play. So in some of my leagues, I got him in almost the following round, the eighth round. So usually him and I remember Time Lord are one of the value picks in that area. That I mean,
I took
hey,
him as well. I took him as well.
exactly right. So then of course it's a competitive league. I'm pretty sure I won't get both in that round, like the turn. So I usually choose Triple J over Time Lord during those instances. But yeah, a very good picks there. How about
Ah,
oh yeah, go ahead.
I have another player, another very important player that helped me in other leagues as well this year. Al Horford.
Oh,
I took him.
yeah.
I took him at the 10th round. Okay, and Horford. Let's talk a little bit about strategy. Most of the people that playing head to head, uh, I play a lot of roto as well, rotisserie.
Okay.
Okay, and in a league like Josh's, it had a little bit of advantage for auto players because you had there, the game limit, and game limit is roto players play always with game limit, and when you play with game limit, uh, throwing the turnovers isn't always wise. I don't like punting turnovers because it's a very easy category. Okay, it's easy to win because most of the people not trying to win it. Most of the people trying to have assists.
Yeah.
Okay, and what people do when they're trying to get assists, they pick players prematurely because they have assists. Okay, and what more they're doing? People that gain value from turnovers, they pick later. Okay, Horford was 65th per game this year. Okay, part of his value came from turnovers, but because I'm not punting turnovers, okay, it suited me very well. Okay, taking a player like Horford, uh, 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 makes you better at turnovers because he almost doesn't turn the ball over. Okay, and he blocks shots, and he's shooting three pointers. So he's one of the players that I picked a lot this year, and I thought he's much more valuable than other players.
Yeah, and then speaking of the turnover strategy, when you kind of like initially got players that are are what call this generates a lot of turnovers. You can't really, manage it at the end of the round because how do you prevent them to, to generate turnover? So there's no turning back once you drafted players that has turnovers, and then eventually in the end of the round you try to, let me get someone that doesn't generate turnover. It's really hard. So I guess like you mentioned, the your strategy really suits what Al Horford provides. How about the free agent game? Uh, any best waiver wires that you got during the whole season?
Okay. First of all, I knew my strategy was to go after the categories that most people, neglect. Okay. As I said, turnovers, most people neglect. Okay. The percentages,
Percentages, yeah.
the field goals and the free throws. Most people, just playing it to it, going for the popcorn categories, the
Yeah.
points, the rebounds, the assists.
Counting numbers. Yeah.
And another category that people neglect is the steals. Okay, so I knew that there would be a lot of players, a cheap players that I can get from the waiver wire that will help me with the steal. For example, Matisse Taibul, that was a very important part of my championship because he had a very solid week with a lot of steals.
Yeah, and
And not
especially he
only
was
Ty,
traded to the Blazers. So he kind
yes,
of like
yes,
really helped you.
yeah, of course. I picked him after he was traded. Yes, of course. I didn't pick him in the draft. I picked him from the waiver wire. And another very strong pick I had, uh, and the smart one, was Dillon Wright. Although he
Oh
didn't
yeah.
help me in the finals, but about a month and a half, he had a ton of
Steals, bro.
steals.
Yeah. Massive.
He,
Almost three a game.
yeah, it was crazy. Okay, and I knew that those kind of players are players that I can find cheap in the waiver wire. I can take them. And another player that helped me a lot in the finals was D'Anthony Melton. D'Anthony Melton, I took him. I took him for one game. I knew that the 76ers are going to play back to back in the final week, and I saw that Harden sat at the last back to back. So I thought to myself that there's a decent chance Harden will sit in this back to back in the second game. So Melton will start. And he started, he had 6 steals and 1 block in this game that he started. He was my final pick, okay, before the finals. Okay. So that was another pick that I was very proud of. You can't predict 6 steals, but you can predict that he's going to start
Yeah.
and he's going to have a strong game because as a starter is about top 50 player. Okay. So that was wise for me.
Uh, I have a question for you, bro. When you strategize during drafts, how important for you is the final schedule in picking the first core players in your roster? Do you kind of
Oh,
like real is it a big thing for you? Because this has been always been discussed in several podcasts, and then the 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 takes are really kind of like divided.
okay. So I'll tell you what. I only care about the finals week. Okay, the week of the finals. Okay, I'm saying to myself, I want the advantage at the finals. If I won't go to the finals, okay, I don't settle for second, third place, okay? I don't care getting to the finals and losing. I want the championship. So I'm looking at the week of the finals, and there I don't mind if there's a player that plays 3 games, that's okay. But I won't draft players that play 2 games, okay? 2 games is
Well, that's your what
too
depending on the
little.
schedule, I guess that's your favorite player. Nikola Jokic, the Denver Nuggets. If for
Yeah,
those leagues
no, no,
who
no,
have
no, no.
that,
At,
yeah,
at,
right?
at the finals of Josh Lloyd's league, he played 4 games. The week later, he played 2 games.
Yeah, exactly. So other leagues who had Jokic, was what I was saying is really kind of like really bummed during that week.
Yeah, so 2 games, it's too little. But Jokic, I think Jokic is it's a little bit different player because you cannot not
Not
draft
peak.
him.
Yeah,
Okay,
as first. Yeah.
you can as if he's too sure of a player. He's too strong. The pair game uh, is too high, and this year the durability wasn't there, sadly. But who thought? that he play only 68 games. We predicted over 70. So it's really hard not to pick him, even if he plays 2 weeks in the finals week. But other from him, no other player that plays 2 weeks is going to be on my roster. No, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
and also you can't find any other fantasy player that will play at least 68 games that can provide what he provides. I mean, I don't think there's any player in the league that could provide that
Exactly.
in that span of time. So and also it's really hard nowadays, especially in the past few seasons, to kind of like gauge that, hey, I'm not gonna draft this player because he's about to play 60 or less or whatever, because most of the top players doesn't really complete games, like, it's around 70-ish plus or minus, majority of the top guys. So it is what it is. Nikola Jokic is
The
still
from
uh
from the top 12 players, only six played more than 60 games, I think,
there you go.
this year.
So
It's crazy. Davis less than 60, Durant, Steph, Lillard, Halliburton, and Kyrie. Kyrie played 60. Those are from the top 12 per game players. It's crazy what happens this year.
yeah.
No, 65 games this year was solid.
Yeah.
Most of the years, 65 games was weak.
Exactly. And then I hope anyone who is watching, who will be watching in this episode, I hope you try to really adjust your legs, because your everything will get messed up if you try to complete the whole week, because those are really silly weeks after after the last prior to last 4 weeks. I guess that's kind of like the sweet spot. How about the misses, Arik? Any player that you kind of like high with, or you drafted that it didn't work out?
Yes, of course. Oh my God. This year, not listen. I had a lot of luck at the Josh's league, but even there, I had Collins that killed me. I picked him at the 6th round, I think, or even 5th round, and started the year solid, but was really bad. And I even threw him to the waiver wire uh, 1 week before the finals.
But that was a
Uh,
fair pick, I guess, because on that area, I remember John Collins to be, kind of like really potential pick in that area, because I remember who are involved in that round. I guess some are kind of like really third third option players, and then you can see like John Collins being there, and then given that there's somehow a scarcity in bigs, it really makes sense to kind of like lean on picking John Collins in that area. But
yeah,
nonetheless,
and it
it was
was
a
really
bad
bad.
season for him.
Yeah, but I had certain years certain leagues this year. Okay, 12 other from Josh's, except Josh's. So other players that killed me this year is Middleton. Oh my God, Middleton!
Yeah.
Just wow, it killed me, man.
There was, because there was a news that came out that he was about to be, kind of like, oh, he's almost ready or whatnot. I remember there was a news almost before
Yeah, in the beginning of the year, I thought it's
exactly,
going to
right.
be 5, 6 games. Oh my God! And but the problem is that even when he came back, he was horrifying, and the way he ended, I wanted to kill him. The last game that he got injured in the knee again and had 0 from 3 from the field and nothing else, you know. He cost me one championship in a Roto League. Whoa, whoa, he just killed me. Him, Bradley Bill as well, the horrifying season, and
Yeah,
Towns
Bradley
as
Beal. Bradley Beal was kind of like really hyped just because of the contract, and then all of the kind of like uh his interviews and all. So people remember that, hey, we remember like last season he was borderline first rounder, second rounder, and then he got injured. So now he's healthy. He signed a contract. So people kind of like, oh, I'm gonna draft him in the second
Yeah,
round. Or
yeah, he's a finished player, fantasy wise. Oh my God, he was. I don't know why he likes so much to be ill. He likes to get COVID once a month. No. So him and the third one is Towns. Towns killed me. Oh my God.
Yeah, the
He, I
early in
had
the
him.
season, bro.
I
It
had him
it,
in
it
two
really hurt.
leagues. Yeah. I believed he's going to have a solid season. I believe that he's going to find a way playing next to Gobert. Who thought he's going to get injured and like that? Wow, it just killed me. Although in one league that I have him in a roto league, I finished second even without him or with him. But I think if I picked someone else, I could have won that league. So
Eh,
but as I said, you can't be always right.
yeah,
You you can't predict the future, but you can think wisely about the future. It won't always be correct. Even in poker, you can have aces and lose to a 7-2 offsuit. You know, but the smart thing is enter with the aces and drop the
yeah,
7-2. Even you have a chance to win. And it's about the same in fantasy. You need to think right. Sometimes the right strategy will bring you the wrong results, and the wrong strategy and the wrong way of thinking will give you the right results. But you can't depend on it. Okay, you can if you're playing one game. It's like in poker. If you're playing one tournament, a luck can give you the win. But if you're playing for a while, if you're a professional poker player, you can't lean on luck. Okay, you need to be good at what you do. And it's even stronger in fantasy, because I think luck has less influence here in fantasy. So you need to think wisely, even if sometimes it doesn't give you the right results. And for example, Middleton, who thought it's going to be like that? All the reports said it's going to be 4, 5, 6 games. Okay, so I can tell you, don't lean on injured players. But if I say to you that, what about Triple J? Okay, Triple J also was an injured player, and he gave me championship in a so I don't think picking Middleton was bad at the beginning of the year, but the end result was horrible.
but that what makes fantasy basketball really fun. Those type of randomness of some sort. Sometimes
Yes,
it
of course.
it hits, sometimes it's not. But the fun of really researching for it, preparing for it, the your leans, your projections, and then you making an effort to watch out for the transition of uh day to tomorrow to add players, those kind of stuff all together. Those are the things that really kind of like makes your chances to win championship even more, or even bigger. People are saying like, oh, like you mentioned, you just get lucky or easy to win. It's to be honest, it's not, especially nowadays that there's a lot of information all over the internet about fantasy basketball. There's a lot of apps, there's a lot of news that you can follow, people,
People you can
even
follow on Twitter, a lot of people.
exactly. And then the players are in the that are kind of like in the new generation, they are bold in picking their roster. So when you draft as a tenured or even as a new player, it's always a combination that s- early picks get there's a lot of early picks, and then the players that you kind of like plan to get to will be picked uh meticulously by the tenured one. So for me, it's such fun, to be honest, to kind of like observe those things and then be in the league on those stuff. So yeah, generally it was a good year. What do you think? It should be a better year than last year, aside from the injuries, right?
Uh, I think every year is better than the last year, except the injuries. Okay, the level of basketball is getting higher, and the stats are getting much more exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, think about 5, 6 years ago, a player that has one block, one steal, one three-pointer was something really special. Today, you want
Is
one
it
block,
Rudy?
two steals, two three-pointers. Okay.
Are you talking about Rudy Gay? Because like way back, Rudy Gay is that guy that one block, one steal, one three.
Or Danny Green if you're a
Yeah,
Spurs fan.
right.
So
Danny
yeah,
Green, Rudy, those
yeah.
players.
Mm. I
There you
think the
go.
game is getting more exciting, and you know what? The nowadays you need to pick more players because all of the injuries. So it makes the game even more skillful. Okay, because you need to manage your team. Okay, because there's a lot of injured players all of the time. Okay, so there's a lot more of team management. You know, years back you picked players, most of them played 75, 80 games. Okay, so you're sitting, relaxing. If someone is bad, you switch him with someone from the waiver wire. But today, a lot of injured players. It makes the game even harder and more interesting.
There you go. So, Eric, it's really a delight talking to you. We can talk all day, but I guess we might park some of our thoughts in uh, more episodes. I'm definitely gonna pull you in another episode very soon, or maybe to start off the season next year, or
With
maybe
pleasure,
during the off
brother.
season.
With pleasure.
We can do that. But just to tap off this specific episode, since as a champion, I would like to ask some tips, or maybe at least what do you think was your edge this season that made you a champion in a league wherein it's almost a culmination of every type of GMs? Because I remember there are also other Filipinos that joined that league. Then all over the world, there's a lot of fantasy basketball analysts as well who joined the league. I joined that league, but uh, I'm kind of like bad at really being consistent. So I am actually embracing my fault there. But yeah, I would love to hear from you, at least for this season. What do you think? What's the couple of things that you can share to our fantasy community on what you did
Oh,
right?
okay. Okay, I'll try to do it quick. Okay. First of all, I knew I had to distinguish my team. Okay, you're playing with 30 divisions. Okay, so in the finals you're going to play against 59 other teams. If you're going to punt, for example, a punt that a lot of people doing, like points, 3 points, and free throws, you can have in the finals about 5, 7 teams that have exactly the same punt. Okay, you can't do that because you should do something to distinguish your team. Okay, that you won't fight with a lot of teams about on exactly the same categories, because there's a lot of chance that in those fights you lose a few of them. So I knew I had to distinguish my team. So I decided I'm not punting any category. Okay, I'm have to I have to have as much value as I can. The only category I'm going to semi punt is assists, because as I said, assists are going prematurely, and I don't want to pick players prematurely. I want as much value as I can. And if I want to get the best player available, okay, there's a lot of chance that I'm going to be weak at assists. Okay. That was the first thing I said to myself. The second thing I said to myself, I need to pick a lot of points and free throw percentages at the first rounds. Okay, because those are categories that you can't get at the end rounds. Okay, so I picked players like, okay, my first pick was Embiid, second Butler, third pick was Mitchell, and fourth pick was DeRozan. Okay, a ton of points and a ton of free throw percentages. Okay, and nice field goal percentage as well. That was the second thing I said to myself. The third thing I said to myself, I have to get Triple J and Robert Williams. Okay, those are two players that I have to pick in the draft. Okay, because I want the edge at the finals, and they will be healthy probably at the finals. So if I'm picking them seventh, eighth, ninth round, and they're going to give me fourth, third, second round, okay, that's wise. Okay, so those are the things that my team leaned on. Okay, I had a lot of another few things, small things, but those three are the most important things I said to myself pre-draft.
There you go. Those are actually kind of like I can't. It's kind of like amazing that I'm pretty sure the people that will watch this episode kind of like ponder upon that. Yeah, that's right. I mean, the moment you mentioned your first four picks, it's kind of like I can almost visualize the synergy uh for those four players. That's why I always kind of like really preaching when I every kind of like first part of the season to really strategize and create core players that synergizes with each other with a same common structure or goal or path or whatever. Because if you're going there without any direction, it's really going to be tough to win against someone like Arik here, who has like a clear cut plan off the bat of the season. So definitely amazing tidbits of wisdom there from someone like you, Arik. Um,
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I hope you had some fun here in talking with me,
Yeah, of course.
discussing
I'll be
fantasy
happy to come
basketball.
again.
For sure, for sure. So again, give some shout outs to your app, and then where would the people can follow you?
On Twitter, Day to Day Fantasy. Uh, maybe we'll start a Facebook page. I don't know yet because most of the analysts are on Twitter.
Yeah,
It's much more easier to put their information. If you're not on Twitter, go there. It's time. It's about time, people. And then and follow me from there. And of course, again, the app Day to Day Fantasy. Find it, download it for free. We're going to upgrade it. It's going to be great.
there you go. And then again, this is my pledge or promise to you, brother. Next season, I'll be really utilizing that app. I'm gonna kind of like use it as reference for reaction or whatever, and I'm gonna pull you in some of those episodes. Because uh, if for me, talking to someone like Eric here, I hope the audience can appreciate that he is someone that really puts in effort, time, and then his wits to really culminate this information and come up with such projection. So I really appreciate uh, people like Yari, Arik, aside from him being a fan of San Antonio Spurs. So it's kind of like a bias there. But I mean, no, brother. I'm gonna put an episode, and I'm gonna also pull in another friend of ours, NBA Fantasy Bible, in Twitter, because he's been also jumping in
Oh,
the
yes,
episode.
yes, yes, great. I follow
Yeah,
him as well.
yeah. Let's do something together, and then because usually I create
I would be happy.
I create episodes in Filipino. So I'm gonna try to really put in a weekly episode with us three. Just to be,
Great.
just to have like a
Yeah, I'll be
different
happy. I'll
perspective.
be happy. Let's do it.
There you go, there you go. Thank you so much, Eric. Again, guys,
Thank you,
congratulations to Arik
Papi.
Zilber. He is the champion of the LOFBB Bowl 2022-2023 under Josh Lloyd's Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast. Possibly we can count him as one of the greats now given that that's a big league that is being done every season. Unfortunately, Eric, I can't join you next year because I've kind of like contemplated to myself that I'm so much used to Yahoo app that I really suck at
Oh
Fantrax,
man, Fantrax was horrible.
right?
Wow, wow.
It takes kind of like a little, not a little, but a lot more effort for me to try to really,
Yeah, I
you know,
understand you, man.
be
I
be
understand you.
familiarized. But yeah, but no offense to the whole league and to Josh Lloyd. I do believe some of our people love using fan track. So it is what it is. But me, I'm gonna be honest to myself. I'm gonna stick with the Yahoo, I guess, for next year. Anyway, thank you so much, Eric. Congratulations again,
Thank you,
man.
brother.
I hope
Thank you very
to bring
much.
you back soon in one of our episodes. Thank you, everyone. Bye.